Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that have shaped their lives, inviting us all to reflect and grow together. Today we're joined by Elizabeth Makepeace, an intuitive activator who has danced with your extraordinary. With a background in healing and a heart full of magical encounters, Elizabeth reminds us that we're powerful beings capable of creating our own realities. Let's open our hearts and remind us and mind as we step into Elizabeth's world and explore the wisdom that has guided her journey. Tell us your name and what you do.
So hi, my name's Elizabeth Makepeace, and I'm an intuitive activator. So I'm certified as a natural success coach and an alchemist. And basically, I just support people to really tap into their intuition and to find their wisdom internally, so they're not having to second guess or rely on the influence of others outside of themselves. So they're really on the path to their highest potential.
Yeah, thank you for accepting my invitation to be on the podcast, Elizabeth.
Yeah, more than welcome. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, what's the quote you want to share with me today?
So the quote is something that my higher self actually gave me, and it's that you've already won. It's something that came to me while I was having a float. I go once a month with my partner, and we just go into a float tank, and basically no stimulation whatsoever because we're overstimulated in the world. And so it was something that came to me when I was asking for guidance and support and what's my next steps and all of those things. So you've already won is my quote.
Before you had that you've already won moment, what were the limiting beliefs or comparisons that were holding you back?
Just like everybody else, we have these moments, right? We've got all of this ambition and these goals and these desires of what we want to create in our life. And the limited part of ourselves, the part that feels small and broken in some way, comes in and within seconds starts second guessing all of the things that we have just decided we want to create. And so that's our unconscious. So the limitations that come to me are often, we have little themes that go on in our life. A lot of us have, particular sabotage beliefs that are continuous. So for me, it's that I'm not capable. But some people, it could be that I'm not good enough or not perfect, that I don't belong. We have these themes. So for me, I have this thing because of the way I was raised. My mum raised me to, constantly think that what I was thinking or what I was intuiting, if that's a word, was actually wrong, and that what's, she would guide me and she would, wouldn't allow me to think for myself. So that conditioning sort of started making inside of me second guess my own judgments. And so it's very mild now because I've done I've been working in this sort of field for 28 years. But it still comes up because we're still human. We're still got that little part of us that wants to, make sure that we're surviving this world. So it's always going to come with something that's going to try and block anything that it doesn't know. So for me, it's, I'm not capable. But when I feel it and I hear it, I now am aware to not listen to it and just, keep moving forward.
Yeah, if we were to take the word, the phrase "you've already won," more like a sentence, "you've already won," out of the story a bit. What does it mean to tell yourself you've already won? Because right now I'm like, I feel like I understand it, but I would love for you to explain.
So from a higher perspective, when we're tapped into our higher self, we have access to all parts of ourselves. We've got access to all information, all potential, all timelines. And at some level, everything that we want is already given, is already received, is already taken place, and we just have to tap into that result. So when my higher self said to me, "You've already won," what she was saying was, it's already there for you. You just have to let go and step into it. Easier said than done when you're a human, right? And you're walking around, you wake up, and we get on these things, the phone and
Yeah.
computers and everything, and we're influenced by stuff outside of ourselves. But if we can just stay focused on listening to that higher part of us that's really gently, encouraging us to move forward and to live in our personal growth and our spiritual growth, that's when we really start tapping into the part of us that's already won, that's already received everything it ever desired.
One could look at the quotes and misinterpret it to say, well, you've already won. Why try things? Why chase the dreams you want to chase? You've already won. What's the use? What would you say to those persons misinterpreting the quotes?
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because when you go into that space of, oh, well, if I've already done it, why bother? That part of you that is saying that is the unconscious again. It's the part of you that's trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you small, trying to keep you broken, and is gone, oh, well, let's not, jump into the unknown because it's scary. And this is giving me an excuse not to, build momentum, not to be motivated, not to step into those big, scary, audacious goals, like it's still trying to keep you small. And because we're human, even though we've already got it, even though we've already won, we still have to take the actions towards that. We still have to actually do things that are going to move us into the experience. Because, I could have said to my higher self, well, I've already won. Well, let me see it in my personal reality, right? Like in my current reality, it doesn't look like it. and that's what a lot of people say, like, well, where is
Yeah.
it, And then, years ago, things like the movie The Secret came out, and it was really great because it brought to the world uh, the concept of law of attraction and manifestation and all of those things. But what The Secret did was it gave people the excuse, or the what's the right word for it? It gave them the concept that we actually don't have to do anything. We just have to sit there and meditate and it's going to come to us. Well, it's actually not true. When
Yeah.
when it comes to, when it comes to alchemy and to creating, there's actually 5 steps. And the 5th step is taking action. So once you've tuned into that part of you that has already got it, right, and you experience it and you feel it in your body, you then have to listen to your higher self that goes, okay, you've got it here. Now that you're experiencing it, let's start putting the steps in place. So sort of like tapping into your future self that's already got the result. What did you do this week? So asking your future self, what did you do this week that got you to the result that you are in now?
Yeah.
And doing that action.
Yeah. You mentioned at the very beginning that you came to the realization of this quote where you were in a float tank with your husband. And for me, I'm trying to timeline the lifetime of the quote. So you came to the realization of the quotes from a lot of lived experience and all other ingredients that made up the quotes. And after the quotes, let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join, or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation. What was the first situation when you saw yourself say, I've already won? And can you tell us what changed in how you approached that situation, that scenario?
So, first of all, when you get something like that, the first feeling is relief because it's a reminder, right? Like, because
Yeah.
we're striving, we're not feeling, like we're feeling the resistance of, I'm doing these things, but not everything's happening. It's what's going on, what's going wrong. We tend to always be looking for what's going wrong or why it's not working instead of looking at what's going right and how can I support myself to move forward. And after getting that quote, that relief gave me that ability to tap in again. Because when you're in resistance, when you're starting to question things, you can't listen to your higher self. Your higher self is blocked by all the chatter, all the mind information that's going in, and it's too noisy because your higher self is a lot quieter and more gentle. And so what happened for me was I relaxed, I had relief, and now I can hear my higher self. So things that happened were, I think it was the next day I was driving my car up to, I live in Australia, right? So I live an hour and a half
Okay.
down south from Sydney. So I was driving up to Sydney and I get this idea pop into my head. So I took action on it. And from that, it was actually for my partner. It it was a realization that I'm going to join him in co-creation with his dream and his project that he's doing. And through that process, we've come up with this amazing that we're now taking action on, and it's going to be massive, right? Like there's this thing because we've both joined our energy together, and his business is exploding at the moment because of it. So being able to find that relief and that release, now my higher self can come in and give me the information that I need for that expanded growth. And it's not always what you think it's going to be, right? I didn't think I was going to be working with him in his business because I've got my own. So,
Yeah.
when you do get that message, what a lot of people do is go, oh, that sounds a bit silly. That's, I'm not going to follow through. But I've got to tell you, if you don't follow through, you're not going to get the results that, like
Yeah.
when you second guess it, it's going to take a lot longer.
Yeah. Like every other mantra and every other quote, there are always times where, we feel like, what am I even doing? Has there been moments since that float tank experience where you kind of doubted this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And how did you get back on track?
yeah, yeah. It's how did I get back on track?
Yeah, moments where you're like, I've already won. No, 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 I don't really think this is, no, no, not really.
Well, I think because I've been doing this for 28 years, it's a lot easier for me now. Like, way back, I used to second guess all the time. Um, because you don't trust yourself. Am I hearing my higher self? Is this real? Is this something that I just made up? You sort of start asking those questions, and then next thing you know, your unconscious has taken over, and you're, being distracted, or you're doing something else, and you think that you know better. But because it's been so long, the more I had to go into that place of breaking down and allowing that part of myself to die, and actually just completely, even if it was not going to work, I had to listen to it. And I'll quickly share a story to give an
Okay.
example. The first time that I listened to my higher self and trusted it, um, was I had a guy that was in my life that I was a single mum, 2 kids, and I was saving up. I was a massage therapist. I was saving up for another massage course, and I had this glass jar on top of my fridge. And anytime I had a little bit of extra money, I'd put it in this glass jar because I was saving up for this course. And being me, I had no idea how much money was in there. I just threw in money when I could, right? Well, there was this guy in my life that I had this feeling we were sort of in a relationship, but not, right? And I had this feeling that he had been taking money from me, but I didn't have anything to
To
prove
show
it.
and
And
prove.
yeah,
Yeah.
to really, yeah. So there's one day he was looking after my kids. I'd gone and done a massage, and I had to, um, come home and take him back to his house so he could get a flight the next day. Came in a bit late. I said, everyone jump in the car. I just go and get it, some water. So I walked past this jar that was on my fridge, and there was something in me just went, he just took money out of there. I could feel it. I had no proof. There was no way. I had no reason to believe it physically, but there was just this feeling inside of me that he'd taken money out of there. So when I got in the car, I questioned him about it, and he spent the whole half an hour that I was driving him home saying to me, how could you believe that I would do that to a single mom? And who do you think I am? And really gaslighting me the whole way through, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, he got out of the car. I drove home and I thought about it. I'm like, if I don't listen to myself this time, then I'm never going to do it. And I just had this really strong feeling that he'd taken money. So when I got home, I rang him up and I said, I've got no proof, but I'm going to, I've got to have you out of my life because this is more than isn't the first time that I've felt it. So he went on again and gaslighted me. Anyway, he went to his flight the next day. A week later, I get a letter in the mail saying, I can't believe you realized, but I did take money out and I'm so sorry. And he, big apology on the letter. But what it did was it made me go, I will never second guess again. There was nothing in me that, like that moment of just going, I believe myself first and trusting that and taking action on it. So, sometimes it doesn't make sense. But if I've got anything to share with your audience, it's to say that listen to your heart, listen to your higher self, and take action on it. And I guarantee that your life will grow and expand and change. It'll be really powerful.
Wow. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Yeah, when you started sharing the story, I was sucked in. I totally forgot that I was the host of the podcast. I was like, okay, let's keep going. This is getting interesting. Okay, that's interesting. And then we're like, okay, share the advice. I was like, oh yeah, that's true. I was supposed to ask the next question. Oh, hey, yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, wow. Thank you so much. I like the fact that this quote is not just any other quote. It's a realization you've come to, and the thing about realizations and all those things is that it comes from lived experiences, right? All piled up together, and then you're like, oh yeah, this is it. It's more like you articulate all those lived experiences to say, yeah, this is the lesson, and so it has this depth than me just sharing a quote out there.
Yeah, you can read a quote, right, and go, oh, that's really good, and I like that. But to actually embody it is a whole different experience. You can
Yeah,
know something, but to experience it is whole different ball game. And
yeah,
that's what
it
we're here
is.
for, right? We're here to
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I know we just spoke for a short while, but it's been an absolute delight chatting with you. What do you do, and where can listeners learn more about you and what you do?
If anyone's interested in checking out my website, it's Elizabeth Eleanor. So it's Elenor. So Eleanor is spelled a little bit differently. So it's elizabetheleanor.com. And I'm on all the socials, but you can find everything on my website. And I also have a few free gifts on there, but there's one that I like to share for listeners is a meditation called the Land of Plenty. so that you can actually tap into your higher self and find out what it is that you're here to experience, right? Like, what is your highest perspective, potential, and find out for yourself. So then you've got something that you're moving towards. So the land of plenty is is a visualization meditation that supports you to really tap into your higher self to understand what you're here for and how can you achieve that. So so everything's on there, all my socials, Instagram, Facebook, all of that, but you can find that all through my website.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been an absolute delight chatting with you, Elizabeth.
Lovely to be on here. Thanks so much.
You've been listening to Relatable Wisdom, and I've been your host, Wisdom Okonkwo. You've been listening to the podcast where every story, quote, and insight helps you see life a little differently. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show on your favorite podcast app and share it with someone who loved the conversation. For more inspiring voices and timeless wisdom, visit relatablewisdom.com. Until next time, keep living, learning, and collecting wisdom that matters most to you.